Hi there, Colleen Adrian here. Parents who are at your wits' end with your teens, especially when they have kind of a sudden change and they seem to rebel or they're not listening anymore. What's going on? Some of these changes you'll know, but I'm going to share a little bit with you about some of the highlights and what you can do about it. So they definitely are more likely, from what I've seen, at around age 15 or so, to push back against limits. Sometimes that starts earlier, and I think that's obvious to most parents. And often it's a phase that passes, especially if you can level up your own parenting skills and figure out how to stay connected to them. Often that'll sort of, fade away as they turn to 16 and especially on to 17. But it can be a really difficult phase. If you want a little bit more information about what's going on astrologically, I did do an interview a couple of years ago with astrologer Diana Carey, and we talked about what happens at their first Saturn opposition, because that starts in around age 14 and a half or so. As you know, they're also undergoing lots of changes socially. They're switching to being more peer oriented often. Their peer group is more important. There's lots going on in terms of thinking about romance or dating. There's also lots of changes going on in their brain and their nervous system. So they might be experiencing feelings or things that they haven't experienced before. And I think one of the most difficult things is that they're now able to walk out the door. They don't need you as much, right? So they're able to walk out the door and do things on their own and basically do what they want if they choose to, right? So if your role as a parent has been largely about protecting them or keeping them safe, you might not be able to do that anymore in the same way that you used to. And that can be really anxiety provoking. And I'm speaking from experience here as well. They don't have to listen to you. They don't have to stay home. They don't have to obey the limits. Um, and if they're doing things that trigger your anxiety, basically somehow you have to figure out how to regulate yourself in the face of your own anxiety, so that you can maintain some calmness and maintain your ability to connect with them, right? And to be curious and to have ongoing conversations with them that help you to stay connected, right? And I've personally had lots of experience of doing my best to regulate during the day and talking with my son in the most calm and grounded way that I could, and still sometimes waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat or in a panic because I was worried about some of the choices that he was making. So I really recognize it's not difficult, or it's not that easy. It's simple, but it's not always as easy as it sounds. Um, just looking at my notes here. I think that learning to deal with our own parental anxiety and learning to deal with our own anxiety and learning the skills for talking with our kids in a way that helps them to be more willing to open up and speak with us as opposed to pulling back or shutting us out. I think those are some of the biggest skills that we need to learn, as we level up our parenting yet again at this new developmental stage. And it can be even a little bit harder if you maybe had difficult teen years yourself. And I know I did. So that brings up all of your old trauma and kind of triggers you in another way. So that even adds kind of another layer. So getting a little bit of support from that, either from, your partner or other parents, or professional support from a therapist or a counselor, those kinds of things can be really helpful at this stage. And especially if we haven't had role modeling for how to talk with our kids in a curious way that helps them to open up, as opposed to using a more authoritarian approach. It can be really hard sometimes it can take time and a lot of effort to learn those new skills. So I just want to say, I see you, I hear you. It is hard. It doesn't last forever. There are skills that you can learn. And the main focus, if I had to sum it up in a couple of words, would be to connect, 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 and to just love them up. Make sure that you give yourself what you need or get the help that you need so you can stay regulated, so they could just really hear that love in your voice when you speak with them, and that they have that loving place to land when they sometimes stretch out and then maybe need to pull back because they will make mistakes, right? And you want to be the person that they come to, that they know they can trust when they misstep. So thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, just pop them in down below. Love to hear from you. Thanks.